we've been looking forward to this day actually for some time. Expanding awareness of the company. I think one of the strengths of Western Digital is probably everybody in the room has heard the name Western Digital before. I can't talk to a customer without people recognizing the name. But I also, when I talk with customers, most customers have a very deep-seated perspective or perception of what the company is. Oftentimes framing it as a legacy hard drive company. Maybe the company that's made some acquisitions through the years, HDST, SanDisk. But what I hope to do today is really expand your awareness of what we're doing beyond the stuff that you know us for. And looking forward to that opportunity. I head up data center systems. So this is the business group inside the company that focuses on platforms and systems that install in racks and provide core data center infrastructure. So whether it's JBODs or JBOS, storage server nodes, and then our system lines of business that I'll tell you quite a bit about. Today we're announcing some very compelling new capabilities, products, in all three lines of business and data center systems. This information is embargoed until tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. So you are getting a bit of a preview today, but of course you're getting all the information. And again, thanks for attending, and we look forward to the Q&A and the discussion over lunch beyond that. So just to kind of frame data center systems, maybe a bit of context is important. I joined Western Digital about a year and a half ago, so early last year. And before that, I was at EMC for quite a number of years running the Isilon business. So I was SVP and GM there. Before that, I ran the storage business at Oracle. So I was responsible for Solaris and ZFS and bringing that platform to market and a lot of the storage platforms at Oracle, and before that Ngenio. And so I've been in the storage business quite a while. It was a very strategic decision to join Western Digital. I chose to because I see this as the opportunity to build the next great storage systems business in the market. The compelling value proposition of, as I'll discuss, engineering from the storage bit up to the end data center experience. We can do things that other companies cannot. And the paradigm is changing dramatically in the corporate data center. The kinds of problems customers are trying to solve at scale, at performance. We have some very unique capabilities in being able to address those requirements and bring very unique products to market, and I'll be discussing that. But we fit into the core regional and local data center. This is really where we fit from a data center systems perspective in the company. I want to introduce a new name or a new identity to you today, something that as a company we hold very important as we think about where we invest our research and development, how we prioritize our R&D. It's a concept that I think very quickly you'll understand as, well, that's a natural, you guys should be doing that. But one of the things I like to say is the half-life of a good idea in this industry is about 6 months, and it all comes down to execution. The only sustainable advantage is execution, at least in this part of the market. One of the things that we're focused on is this idea of Symbiotics Design. We've given this identity because it's a comprehensive concept. If you think about what we have as a company, we're very vertically oriented. We own the manufacturing supply chain, from the manufacture of the aluminum platter that a disk drive is built upon, and the head technology, and of course all the significant software investment that goes into things from flash translation layers to head control technology to the firmware layers that run on these devices, to take storage bits, the capability of chemicals and process technologies to store information and turn them into real products that customers can use every day, and they can trust the most important asset they have, the data, to these devices. And so we look at this as a stack of technology that is interconnected and supports each other. So we begin at the core device layer. As I said, we manufacture the wafers, the NAND wafers themselves, and we scribe them in our own factories. We package them in our own factories. We turn them into consumer products, commercial market products, enterprise products. We do the same thing from a disk drive perspective. We manufacture the platters, the heads, the drive, and all the things that go with that. Because we do that, and because we spend significant amount of engineering engineering and research and development dollars on these technologies, we can start to engineer them better suited for higher levels of the stack. And so we think about our platforms business, the component of the business that I manage, where we take these devices, whether they're HDDs and SSDs, and we insert them into storage enclosures, but not just from an arm's length perspective. We have the engineers in the same company working together. So the concept of resistance to rotational vibration, the idea of how to manage the thermal profile of a drive in a storage enclosure at scale, and at scale in a data center, these concepts are not designed in isolation from each other. They're designed collaboratively together across these engineering teams. The same thing all the way up to the systems layer, which is really the full expression of Symbiotics Design, where we have intimate understanding of how every bit is operating, its life cycle, its longevity, its performance, how to optimize a given HDD or SSD in the system. Being able to, in situ, complete the manufacturing process for a drive in the system that it intends to ship with, or in situ, being able to repair a hard drive on the fly, let's say in an at-scale object storage system. If you're a customer and you've got a 50 petabyte object storage system in your data center, maybe it's spread across 3 data centers, that's many, many thousands of drives, even at 12 and 14 terabyte capacities. Your focus is not, you don't want to focus on the day-to-day operational management of that system at scale. It just gets very difficult at scale. We can dynamically, on the fly, manage these devices over a longer period of time across multiple technology generations over their life cycle, simply much better than an arm's length understanding of that device would provide. So these things are all interconnected. This concept of symbiotics design, they relate cross-BU, cross-engineering team to each other. I have my engineers from my team spend time in our HDD and SSD factories and the engineering teams in Asia, looking at these devices, how to make better use of them, how to influence their design, and ultimately how to deliver a better end customer experience in the data center. So this notion of symbiotics design, you might call it not vertical integration, but vertical innovation. This is the identity that we want to build on going forward. So you'll hear this attached to a lot of what we want to accomplish as a company going forward across all the phases of the business. So what I want to provide you also is kind of a capabilities snapshot on a slide. I think it's important to understand what we think are the unique capabilities, the compelling value proposition that we can bring to the market from a platform and systems perspective. Again, the company is replete with engineering and technology leadership in the devices space. We've been responsible for a significant amount of the core intellectual property the world depends on today to store information. From the very first disk drive to the first expression of a solid state storage device to the invention of MLC technology to multi-layer MLC technology to helium drives that are now, we've produced many generations of those. Technologies the industry depends on. What I want to talk about is how we're leveraging that and building on that from a systems perspective. It all begins with products, of course. I'll describe to you the portfolio of data center systems, but it's very intentionally constructed. My mission here, our mission here at Western Digital, is not to recreate the next EMC or HP or NetApp or a large OEM branded storage provider. They have, we greatly respect those companies. They've got broad portfolios. They've got broad capabilities that they bring to their customers. We're not here to exactly duplicate that, right? We're here to bring focused products that deliver unique value, that allow things and provide solutions in ways that others simply can't. It begins with our 2 product lines. In the primary and secondary storage space, we focus on unified platforms. So we'll talk about our Tegile acquisition, and the IntelliFlash platform checks all the boxes from a unified storage block file, rich data services. This is really focused in the primary data center space, primary and secondary data center space. Also our platforms business kind of underpinning the software-defined storage community in the market as building blocks for people building their own data center infrastructure or mixing and matching third-party intellectual property with our own devices and our own platforms. We also have a very, very compelling cloud storage product line, our ActiveScale product line that I'll talk about more, that really addresses the large scale-out, scale-up file and object storage market for just the explosion of unstructured data that we see in the marketplace today. From there, we're investing significantly in software. Yes, you think about Western Digital core technology, a lot of physicality to the investments we make from a technology point of view, but we are fundamentally about software. Software defines the products, it creates the unique capabilities. It's what allows us to stitch our systems and our platforms into ISV ecosystems. It's what delivers the rich data services that customers depend on today in mission critical and large scale applications. So we invest significantly in software. Also, this notion of symbiotics design. I won't talk about that further, but I think you get the concept. The idea of kind of vertically engineering and vertically innovating from the storage bit to the end customer experience. And we do make a significant difference in this space from a media resiliency, performance, lower cost of ownership, longer life cycle. If a customer says, I want, for instance, an object storage platform, and I want to put data on that platform, and it needs to sit there, it needs to be there reliably for 15, 20, 30 years, right? I mean, people are pressing us on this question. Where else, who is better equipped to manage the seamless existence and integrity of that data over 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 hardware technology cycles than the company that's actually driving those roadmaps, those fundamental roadmaps, right? It's really at Western Digital. So part of what we can provide to customers is this notion of symbiotics design and kind of a data forever architecture where we can confidently tell customers, you can park your data here and we'll manage it over many life cycles non-disruptively, no more data migration, no more forklift upgrades. We can manage this because we actually drive the technology. The third component to data center systems, the piece that makes us unique in many ways, this notion of integrated design and test. Eliminating overlapping value chains. When the company delivers devices to market, there's lots of overlapping value between the manufacturing and test and validation that we do and the test and validation that our customers do and their delivery of the product to market. We're actually driving aggressively to tightening up those overlapping value chains inside the company when it comes to our own systems, being able to, as I said, leverage devices, SSDs and HDDs on the manufacturing line, integrating them into our systems, completing part of that validation process in the system they're going to ship with to market. This eliminates overlapping value chain, which ultimately saves money for customers, allows us to deliver a better TCO equation to customers. Supply chain optimization. We are a very vertically integrated company. And that extends all the way into our systems line of business, platforms and systems. On campus here, just across the parking lot, is a building that we've repurposed into a system assembly operation. So we're doing actually here on campus right now, full system integration and test. Marrying up our platforms and our systems with third-party software and even third-party hardware from the industry, but kind of micro-tailored to our customer requirements. So if you're a company and you want our technology delivered with other technology and you want it integrated and validated and tested and shipped into your supply channel, just the way you want it, micro-tailored, we can do that here on campus. Again, our mission is not to be the next large EMS provider, but we can do this at scale and we can do it kind of in a config to order way that customers value, right? So we want to build products that exactly meet the customer's requirements. The other advantage of supply chain optimization is this idea of insulating customers from supply and demand cycles. This industry, if there's one thing that's constant, it's that we're going to go through periods where storage devices are either in abundance or short supply based on the capital investment cycles of the industry. And we see this right now, whether it's capacity enterprise drives or NAND or this or that, right? It's going to go through cycles. Because we own the supply chain, we're the manufacturer of record, we're integrating them in our own systems, certainly our systems customers can look to us with confidence and know that through these dynamics of the industry, the up and down cycles, they're working with the core manufacturer of the full stack. And so their assurance on being able to purchase consistently, predictably, additional systems and capacity at predictable economics over the life cycle of the product and know that the experience is going to be the same is quite high. And this is one thing that we can do for customers as they look at how are they insulating themselves from some of these industry dynamics. The final area is in, I mentioned integration services. This is the operation that we have here on campus, being able to do design, assembly, and test services to our customers' requirements, and a number of consumption options. I think this is not unique in the industry, but I think everyone recognizes that still most of the world's storage is a traditional CapEx purchase experience, but we're seeing a lot of transition and shift to paying as you go, to either exactly what you're using, up or down, open-ended models, straight line leases. There's a lot of creativity in the commercial equation on how companies buy storage today. And again, we're really well positioned to support these models as a company because we are the manufacturer of record of the bulk of the bill of material. Okay, the portfolio of data center systems. As I mentioned, it's based on three lines of business. The first one is platforms. We're branding these products UltraStar, whether it's JBOD, JBOF, storage, compute storage nodes, server nodes, and a lot of R&D going into where the market is moving, right? Clearly NVMe and NVMe over F architectures are in the process of changing the way the industry does head shelf architectures, the way the industry thinks about SAN architectures, the way the industry thinks about extensible DAS architectures. We're obviously putting a lot of R&D into those things in the platform line of business. This line of business, as I mentioned, it focuses in a number of go-to-market spaces. Clearly, part of our market focus is the software-defined storage community. The companies out there that are building at least part of or significantly all of their data center infrastructure using software-defined stacks, whether commercial stacks, open stacks, and we want to be kind of the gold standard of hardware for those folks. Also, clearly, part of this business is pointed at the OEM space where we can, tailor our products for an OEM look and feel, and it can ship in their channel just like their product would. Into the XSP space, the cloud providers, the service providers. These are all great market segments for this line of business. Our ActiveScale product line is our object storage platform. As I'll describe here in just a few minutes, we're bringing some new capabilities to this platform, including for the first time an integrated file capability. So this platform is scaling out and scaling up in a multi-protocol way now. But this is really pointed at large unstructured data sets. And it was technology that was brought into the company through the Amplidata acquisition by HGST in 2015. The technology dates back to 2008. So it's had a decade of R&D investment that's gone into this platform. And the business is ramping very nicely. We're very happy with that. The IntelliFlash product line is our Tegile family. Tegile was an acquisition by the company just last September. We knew the company well. Western Digital had a long relationship with Tegile as an investor and a partner. We love the product and we love the people. The acquisition of Tegile was a very strategic move by the company to bring into the portfolio a primary data center mission critical performance platform that checks all the boxes: block file, integrated, unified, hybrid and all flash, and a very rich suite of data services to go with it. So this business is all about scale. Our focus on the IntelliFlash line of business right now is scale the business. So significant investment going into all areas of the business, the team, go-to-market resources. So I'll talk about each one of these in a little more detail. We are expanding into a broad set of markets. As I mentioned, the platforms business focuses on software-defined. It focuses on XSP. It focuses on the large OEMs, and really a broad set of markets through a number of channels. Our ActiveScale line of business is primarily a vertical market focus. So there are certain vertical markets in the industry that are driving progressively more unstructured data growth at scale than others. And you know what these are, right? Media and entertainment, life sciences, financial services, oil and gas. generally backup and archive workflows across a number of different market segments. These are the areas where we're really pointing our object storage platform. The IntelliFlash line, the Atejao line, is a broad market play. So this is really a horizontal play across primary workloads, primary applications, virtualized infrastructure, performance-oriented applications, VDI, HPC workloads in some areas. So this is a platform that is not vertical market focused, but a broad route to market play. So, but we're touching a lot of these markets. Now you may look at Western Digital as a new entrant into the systems space. We're not a startup company. We're extremely well invested. We've got a large engineering team. We've got a large go-to-market team, a large sales organization. We're up to 2,200 customers and 3,500 systems deployed across the 3 lines of business. So it's ramping quickly and accelerating. You can see some of the publicly referenceable names on the list. Clearly, there's a large group of customers beyond this that are not public references. In ActiveScale, we have multiple 100 petabyte customers now in multiple geographies. There are some great examples on this page. You can see on this page some of the companies you would identify as probably the key innovative software-defined companies in the marketplace that are customers of our platforms business. You can see some large customers on there. For instance, European Bioinformatics, EBI, a very large human genomics research institute in the UK, a very large customer of our object storage platform. And the list goes on. I mean, I wish we could show everyone, but you know how that goes. It's a publicly referenceable set that we have today, but growing very quickly, adding significant customers every quarter, and certainly deploying, significantly increasing our number of systems deployed every quarter now. One of the things you're probably not aware of is our focus in China. I did want to touch on this just briefly. Western Digital made the very strategic decision in early 2016 that our way of building a systems business in China was not to try to take our brand into China and build a business organically there, using our multinational identity, for instance. So we partnered. We partnered with Unis Group. Unis is a very large, enterprise, roughly the same size of Western Digital, very large company. They have multiple properties, sort of business properties within the scope of that organization. They're affiliated in many ways with the government and the public sector. We're the technology partner. Together we created the joint venture. The sales are across the country. We have an engineering center in Nanjing. It's been very successful. It takes work. I mean, the notion of a JV is simple to think about. It's very hard to make work in practice. We have a great relationship with Unis, and things are really starting to pick up and accelerate. We're fundamentally convinced, based on business results, this is the strategic way to build a business in China. And it's growing significantly. You can see how much our revenue has grown trailing 12 months, whether it's IntelliFlash or ActiveScale revenue. We're adding many more sales reps. We're adding more engineering resources. We've got some very strong verticals. A lot of this is based on the relationships that Unis has in the country, from whether it's government or financials or the telcos. We're seeing strong adoption of object storage in the video surveillance space with S3 equipped cameras driving video streams directly to object storage platforms. We are now, in a very short period of time, the joint venture was incorporated and set in motion in the fall of 2016, so it hasn't been that long. We're the number 2 object storage platform in China, according to IDC. So things are accelerating. Takes a lot of work. We're very pleased with our go-to-market strategy in China. Before I get into each product line, I just want to mention briefly that go-to-market and ISVs are critical. We are not just about delivering products to market. It takes an ecosystem. We need channel partners to sell our products for us, and we need an ISV ecosystem that supports it. This is at the junction of markets and customers and competition, whether it's ISVs or our own product efforts, VARs and system integrators that partner with the business. We just completed a partner summit in Utah a few weeks ago that was a tremendous success, a packed room of channel partners. Very excited about the business and our relationship with them. We've done a lot of work at certifying ISVs. It says more than 50. I think the actual number is north of 60 now, 61, 62 or more ISV certification points that we have with our products. And we continue to build this list. We've got a dedicated team in our marketing organization and our technical marketing team that continually works with the ecosystem of partners around our products. I fundamentally understand how important this is, and I'm really happy with the rate and pace that we're going at this. Also, our partners, more than 300 of our partners are now associated with the platforms and system lines of business from Western Digital, accelerating across primarily EMEA and the US, focused in a lot of partners focused in particular vertical markets when it comes to our ActiveScale business, and more geographic or regional partners when it comes to our IntelliFlash, our Tegel IntelliFlash business. But you can see a few names there, and the list is obviously much, much longer than that. Okay, what I'd like to do now is transition into the new news. I want to give you kind of 3 vignettes across our product lines. Again, this is NDA until tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. In every way, we're expanding the depth and breadth of the portfolio. To begin with, I want to talk a little bit about platforms. I mentioned that it's a component of the data center systems business. This is really the inculcation of many years of experience of designing devices and platforms. We have a very experienced engineering team focused on the mechanical and electronic infrastructure, the firmware layers on top of our devices to deliver these products to market. Very focused on vertical integration. We're leveraging our large patent portfolio and extending that with intellectual property unique to platforms. I'll talk about things we're doing from a vibration resistance and vibration resistant design architectures. We've done a lot of work in the area of cooling that I'll talk about. The results, the very fast growing business. We believe that we're unique in offering a 5-year warranty on drives as well as a 5-year warranty on our storage and server platform. So we really stand behind the integrity of the engineering that has gone into these designs. A couple innovations that are kind of characteristic, kind of family values of what we're building into all of our platforms and enclosures. The first one is this concept of IsoVibe. This is patented vibration isolation technology. The design has specific cuts in the PCB underneath the drive that allows a flexible interface between the two. It significantly improves the integrity of the drives. And you think, well, okay, vibration resistance, is that such a big topic? It is. When you talk about density or performance, you want to design systems in a way where related vibration isn't influencing the performance or the longevity of the devices in the platform. We have unbeatable technology in this space. We call it IsoVibe. The other thing we have is something we call Arctic Flow, which is simply a very smart way of how we cool the drives in the platform. Again, fundamentally understanding the drive thermodynamics, how a drive performs from a heat perspective at spin up, at idle, at performance. We have so much data in this space that allows us to very dynamically design a system that frankly cools the devices much better. It results in improved reliability. Upwards of 15% improvement in the longevity of the device at scale. Now you think, okay, 14 or 15%. When you have thousands of drives in a large data center with 50 racks of storage, it matters a lot. It matters a lot from an economics perspective in data centers. And of course, a lot of work has gone into serviceability. The design of these systems, a very consistent approach to how they're serviced from the cold aisle, a lot of cable-less design when it comes to the field replaceable units. Okay, so the lineup. We have a family of JBODs, JBOF, storage servers, and flash storage server designs. If you're in the platforms business, you really do need to bring a fairly complete portfolio to market because the use cases are varied. People want a particular solution to solve a particular form factor, cost, density, performance equation. Our JBODs are built out of that consistent technology that I just talked about, whether it's the 60 or the 102 4U form factor. We have a 2U24 flash JBOF, and we have some flash storage servers. We've got 2 new NVMe platforms that we've previously announced. The Serve24 is a non-HA configuration, and the 24HA is 2 Skylake server complexes inside a JBOF architecture for a high availability solution, which is a very attractive option for a lot of the software-defined, performance-oriented software-defined storage space today. We are announcing tomorrow the Serve 60 plus 8. This is an interesting design. It's a hybrid architecture. I'll just give you some details on this. It's a 4U storage server. It has dual Skylake CPUs, so very performance-oriented. There's 60 slots for HDDs in this device. You can also choose to put SATA or SAS SSDs in up to 24 of those 60 HDD slots. We also have dedicated 8 SSD slots that can support all the way from SAS to SATA to full NVMe SSDs in those 8 slots. And so customers typically would configure this with capacity drives in the 60 slots and very high performance NVMe SSDs in the 8 slots. But we support mix and match scenarios where a customer could actually get 3 tiers of storage in the same platform: capacity drives, SAS SSDs, and full NVMe, more performance-oriented SSDs in the same platform. So this is a very attractive option. We've seen strong demand out of the gate for this platform. It's a 5-year warranty, and it's now shipping. So again, announced tomorrow. Yeah.
You said it's now shipping, and we can't speak about it.
Well, we haven't talked about it, but there's a few customers that could not wait. The announcement is tomorrow. The next product I want to talk about in the DCS lineup is our IntelliFlash platform. Some of you may be very familiar with the Tegile architecture and what they've accomplished. Tegile was incorporated around 2010, very successful innovator in this space, highly regarded engineering and go-to-market team through the years, positioned well in the market from an innovation and a thought leadership perspective. It's a very rich and kind of check all the boxes kind of architecture. Unified block file, fiber channel, iSCSI, NFS, SMB, hybrid workflows, all the way to all flash architectures. A lot of optimization has gone into every part of the data path on this platform. Superior data reduction technologies, inline, compression and deduplication. It can scale to petabyte scale. I'll talk about a petabyte scale all flash system in the next slide. Predictive cloud analytics. It has what I consider to be state-of-the-market capabilities when it comes to connected telemetry with systems that customers can look at real-time analytics on their own infrastructure, and we're also monitoring that kind of back at the ranch, so to speak, where we look at the health of the field population, the health of a given customer's environment, collecting millions of telemetry points per system per day, evaluating the health of each and every system. A lot of the DR capabilities you would expect in a primary storage system, from failover and HA and DR, and a lot of great end-to-end data protection capabilities, encryption, instant snapshots, et cetera. We've talked about the N-Series. N-Series is the new all NVMe platform from Tegile in the IntelliFlash architecture, a true all NVMe platform with dual CPUs through non-transparent bridges to NVMe drives in a single 2U enclosure. Very, very high performance. These systems are built for millions of IOPS and very, very low latency, predictably low latency read and write performance. What we're announcing tomorrow is the extension of this family. We've talked about the 5200 and the 5800, and these are really distinguished and separated from each other by performance, particularly memory in particular, up to 1.4 terabytes of DRAM in the 5800. And up to 80 cores. So you can imagine the performance of the 5800. What we're announcing tomorrow is really the family extension of this to deeper capacities. What we're seeing in the marketplace is customers wanting more all-flash capacity. The product family is evolving from an NVMe 2U active-active architecture to be able to expand over SAS to more all-flash enclosure trays. So now we can go up to 5 petabytes of effective capacity using, kind of the industry standard 5-to-1 deduplication ratio. Obviously, the data set drives what that might exactly look like, but more than a petabyte of raw capacity in these systems now. Very excited about this. We have customer demand for this. The industry has made a strong move to all-flash architectures as primary storage platforms, and we're responding with not only a great fundamental architecture, but now being able to expand it quite significantly.
They are available in Q4.
Yeah, we're announcing it tomorrow, but I would say full general availability in the marketplace is going to be later this year. What's new in IntelliFlash OS? These are capabilities that we're bringing to market. Flexible data reduction inside the Tedgel operating system now. We can, on a per data set basis, allow users to config and choose their dedupe and compression algorithms. There's some compression algorithms that work better on certain data set types. We now are building into the system the flexibility of kind of picking and choosing compression technologies that make sense for your data set by data set type, similarly with dedupe. We've also introduced non-disruptive volume copy. So this is great for test dev environments where you want to make an immediate copy of a database, for instance, and then edit it right away, or be able to manipulate the data on that copy instantly. So now we're doing very seamless non-disruptive volume copy. Same with non-disruptive data migration between arrays from one system to the other. Everything, upgrading your performance, moving a data set non-disruptively from this system to this system with no interruption to applications into a higher performing platform, and very fast file copies. We've done a lot of work on a per volume basis with snapshots and copy capability to do extremely fast file copies with the new operating system as well. This is just some comparisons. We recently did a floor sweep in a customer's environment from, I would say, traditional mid-range technology into IntelliFlash, and the customer gave us their derived metrics for the improvements, whether it's latency, rack space, power, heat. Clearly, some of these vectors are very representative of where storage innovation is going in primary data center platforms. You would expect improvements generation over generation. The IntelliFlash platform absolutely delivers that generational leap forward that customers are looking forward in terms of density, performance, and the economics of the platform. The final line of business in the closing minutes here that I want to talk about is the ActiveScale platform. A couple things about ActiveScale. You may not have recognized it in the marketplace. It's actually has been a fairly popular product through the years. Kind of intentionally, the product has not really had an identity to it from a logo, from a product name, from a look and feel in the rack. And it was just positioned that way as sort of ubiquitous scale out object storage for customers. I've been in so many customers' data centers where they'll talk for 15 minutes about how much they love the platform, and I ask them where it is in their data center, and they say, well, it's on the back row back there. We're changing that pretty significantly, and you can see an example of this out in the product demo area. I encourage you over lunch to take a look at this. We're kind of going completely to the other side of the pendulum. We're creating an identity for ActiveScale. You can see the logo that we're going to be investing in going forward. This product's going to have a very clear identity. It's going to have a very clear rack presence to it. We intentionally designed the product to have a single logo in a rack because unlike other storage products where it looks like a stack of boxes, this is a namespace. This is a cohesive system, and we want the graphical experience to emulate the logical experience that customers have with this platform. So you'll see more and more of this going forward. The ActiveScale portfolio is built on two fundamental platform approaches. The P100 is a modular approach, so it starts with about 9 U of rack space, about in 12 terabyte drives, about 800 terabyte raw. That can scale up from there to multi-petabytes, or customers that know they're in the petabyte range to start with generally start with an X100 system, which is a full rack system. We ship it fully assembled, drives installed, cables installed. Literally, it's networking and power, and they're up and running with this system. We ship it that way. And it starts at a petabyte all the way up, and it can grow to 63 petabytes raw in a single namespace. That 63 number just keeps expanding. Almost every generation of code, we keep expanding the upper limit of that because customers continually push us for larger and larger sizes of this platform. It's focused on density and capacity. As the data set grows, that's very important. Performance. This is a very high-performing object storage system. And normally you wouldn't use those words in the same sentence, right? High-performing object. This thing is very good at performance workloads. In fact, we're involved in some proof of concepts in the industry around workflows and media and entertainment and life sciences that heretofore have been strictly the domain of NAS, And as applications are rapidly evolving to native S3 protocol capability, the performance of this platform is surprising. It's surprising a lot of our customers, and they're rethinking where they can use more cost-effective object storage in their workflows. If you've got a platform that can service both active workflows and your archive, your long-term archive, you've just consolidated a lot of your data center on a single architecture, and that's a lot of what we're focused on with the ActiveScale product. Clearly manageability and of course durability. This thing can go up to like 19 nines of durability across 3 synchronously replicated, strongly consistent, geographically dispersed sites, so you can lose a whole data center with this platform and not lose any access or customer experience with your data. We're announcing some very compelling new capabilities for this platform tomorrow morning. The first one is unified data access. So this is a name that you're going to hear from us a lot. This is all about the seamless integration of a file capability on an object storage platform. I want to stress this is not a gateway. We've worked a lot with gateway vendors, and there's still a purpose for a gateway solution in some implementations. That won't go away. But what we've done with UDA is we've engineered organically, all within our own team, the native ability to talk file protocol and object protocol to the same bit of data seamlessly between those two accesses into the platform. I think this is the way file should have been done in every implementation in the object storage market. We're now bringing this capability to ActiveScale, where customers, frankly, they don't have to pick and choose anymore between file and object. It's truly seamless, built into the product at object scale, at object storage scale. So geographic distribution at billions of objects scale. We haven't lost any of the inherent qualities of an object storage platform when we built the file interface on top of it. Very, very excited about this. Uses the same key value store that an object storage platform runs on for our file metadata constructs. So very excited about this capability. The second capability we're announcing tomorrow is a hybrid workflow capability on ActiveScale. We can now replicate to Amazon S3. So customers wanting a dynamic experience where they want some of their data on-prem, they want some of it off-prem, they can choose at a bucket level. At a bucket level, they can choose what data they're replicating to Amazon over S3. So that's a capability that allows customers to start to really make progress from a hybrid workflow point of view. One of the very compelling capabilities we built into the product that we're announcing tomorrow is a full Docker container capability on the storage platform. When you have petabytes of data, it's very difficult at times to marry applications with petabyte scale data. What customers really are asking for is, I want to bring my applications closer to my data. We've created a Docker capability on the front end of this platform with the performance to scale that allows customers to introduce applications directly in the frame on the object storage platform. And you might say, well, what good is that? We've got several use cases that are already emerging. One clearly in media and entertainment is this notion of nonlinear editing, the ability of bringing a nonlinear editing capability on the ActiveScale object storage platform, so you're not moving data all over the place into these workflows. You're keeping the data in place and running the application dynamics right on top of it. Obviously, this is not a feature that is sort of, wild, wild west. You can do anything you want. We're working with customers as they bring their use cases and applications to the table. So this is more of a targeted capability that we're using with customers that want to push into this space. This will grow and expand over time, but the fundamental capability is being announced tomorrow. The third one, or the fourth one, is obviously we're going to keep pace with media. We're introducing not only 12 terabyte drives, as you would expect, but FIPS drive support as well. So customers are increasingly asking for solutions that have a degree of physical security to them, that have a degree of logical security to them, and we're constantly expanding the bar, so bringing FIPS drives into the platform. My final slide, and it just kind of ties everything together. We have some fundamental strengths as a supplier, as a partner, at the platform and systems layer. Our Symbiotics Design makes us unique, and as we progress forward as a business, you'll see us use this term and point to very tangible, real value proposition points for customers that are unique based on our capabilities in this space. We're very vertically integrated, which means we can collapse supply chains, we can reduce overlapping value chains, we can deliver, frankly, better TCO to our customers. The breadth of our portfolio, very intentionally invested in platforms, primary data center, and file and object scale. Supply chain ownership, we insulate our customers from the uncertainties and the dynamics of that. Our market reach, of course, is a global company. We're everywhere. The world trusts us with their data. And we're a very financially successful company. So we're here to play long ball. We're here to deliver incredible value to market over a long period of time.